Hey, awesome people. Mr. C back with another fractions video. Make sure if you learn anything new at all, click that like and subscribe button. Join us as we continue making math understandable and challenging. This video is going to be our practice problems video for adding fractions with unlike denominators using a standard strategy. Again, this is our practice problems video. You will find in the description below our teaching video if you have missed that. Also in the description below, you will find all things second, third, fourth grade fractions. Check that out. Parents, teachers, I also have two links down there for you in regards to an awesome program called IXL. IXL is a program I've used in my classroom. It is a great program for students to get independent practice and for them to master skills. It allows them to track their learning, and it's an awesome thing to use. Two links, one is for a free 7-day trial, and the other one is a 20% off memberships. That's monthly or annual. Check those out. Awesome program. Again, this is our teaching video, practice problems video for adding fractions with unlike denominators using a standard strategy. Let's challenge ourselves, people. Well, all right, you awesome people, here we go. Before we get started, growth mindset, super important. We say it every time here at Math with Mr. C. Growth mindset means that we may not know something yet. We may not be able to add fractions yet. And that yet is really important. It means that we're going to have to practice. It means that we're going to have to make mistakes. It means that we're not going to give up. It means that we're going to ask good questions and we're going to stick with it. Okay, so make sure you have a growth mindset. Here we go. Again, this is the practice problems video, so we're going to go a little bit quicker through these. If you missed the teaching video, it is in the description. Check it out. Here we go. We've got two fractions. Feel free to pause me and do this on your own if you'd like. We've got two fractions here. We've got 1/2 and we've got 1/3. 1/2 plus 1/3. And the first thing I notice is the denominators are not the same. Because they're not the same, it makes it a little hard for me to just add them right now. Okay, I can't really just look at this and tell you what the answer is. What I need to do is I need to find common denominators. How am I going to do that? Well, we're going to list the two denominators, the 2 and the 3, and we're going to skip count, or we're going to list out the multiples of each of them. So I'm going to skip count 2, 4, 6, 8. Again, I only go about 4. Usually I can find a common denominator within the first 4 multiples, but sometimes you can't, and you got to keep going. All right, we'll see what happens here in this one. So 3, 6, 9, 12. All right, here we go. We are looking for a common denominator, a number they have in common. So let's see. Let's start with the 2. Let's see, 2, 2, 2. Nope, no 2s. So mark out the 2. Any 4s? 4, 4, 4. Nope, they don't both have 4. What about 6? Do they both have 6? 3, 6. Oh, there it is. Both of these numbers have multiples of 6, so that's good news for us. So now we've found our least common denominator, our smallest common denominator. So that is what our denominator is going to be. So for both of these fractions, we are creating equivalent fractions that have denominators of 6. So now let's do that. We need to multiply the denominator of 2 by what? 2 times what will give you 6? Remember, you have a cheat sheet already. Let's use it. Count the number of multiples. 1, 2, 3. 2 times 3 gives you 6. All right, if I multiply the denominator by 3, what do I have to do to the numerator? Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top, and vice versa. Okay, so if I multiply the denominator by 3, multiply the numerator by 3. 1 times 3 gives us 3. Okay? Now we need to do the same thing to 1/3. Let's create an equivalent fraction for 1/3. 3 times what will give you 6? Again, use your cheat sheet down here. Multiples, count them. 1, 2. 1, 2. 3 times 2 gives us 6. If I multiply the denominator by 2, got to do the same thing to the numerator. 1 times 2 is 2. So now I always rewrite them. This is just what I do to kind of make it easy for me to see what I have. This is what I really teach students to do because I don't want them to get messed up when they've done all the hard work. Slow yourself down, make sure you write it correctly, and now let's see if we can solve it. So denominators are both 6, so that's going to make it easy for us to add because if the denominators are the same, we can go ahead and just add away. So denominators stay the same. Now add the numerators. 3 plus 2 gives us 5, and our answer is 5, 6. Notice again, we created equivalent fractions because 1/2 is equal to 3/6, and 1/3 is equal to 2/6. We had to create equivalent fractions. Once we created those equivalent fractions that had the same denominators, we were able to add our fractions together, which gave us a final answer of 5, 6. So, where did you get stuck? Where are you lost? Parents, teachers, make sure they tell you where they're getting stuck at. Students, don't just raise your hand and say you don't get it. All right, what part do you not get? What part are you stuck? What part are you making your mistake? That is when our learning really works. That's when our brain is really, really working. Okay, if you got stuck and you made a mistake at the very beginning, then you made a mistake at the very beginning, and that's where you start from. Okay, do not give up. Stick with it. So, take a look at this. Rewatch this one if you need to. Take a look and see where did you make a mistake, what didn't make sense. Ask them some questions, and then I want you to try this next one with us. All right, got another one coming your way. Let's do it. Here we go. We've got a new problem here, a problem that has one of my favorite colors. Well, let me think. Today is Thursday where I'm at, so orange is my favorite color on Thursdays. So here we go. Let's do it. We've got 4/6 plus 1/4. First thing I notice, denominators are not the same, so we've got a little bit of work to do here. So let's do it. Feel free to pause me and try this one on your own if you'd like. So I'm going to list out the two denominators. We've got 6 and we've got 4. Okay, so list out the multiples starting with 6. We're going to skip count. 6, 12, 18, 24. You're probably noticing how important it is to know your multiplication tables, and I cannot stress that enough. Okay, skip count by 4. List out the multiples. 4, 8, 12, 16. Again, if I need to go further, I can go further, but I don't want to do a bunch of extra work if I don't have to. That's what I tell students. Like, I don't want you to have to do a bunch of extra work. Like, let's be efficient with the work we're doing. So let's see what we got. Looking for a common denominator, the smallest number they have in common. Let's start with the 6. Do you see a 6 down here in the multiples of 4? 4, 8, 12, 16. I do not. They do not have common 6s. What about 12? Do we see 12 in common? 4, 8. Oh, hold on. We've got 12s. Common denominator alert. 12. 12 is going to be our common denominator. So let's go ahead and write that down. Both fractions are going to have denominators of 12. That's good news for us. We found a common denominator. Now let's create some equivalent fractions. For 6, we need to create an equivalent fraction that has a denominator of 12. So how is that happening? 6 times what gives us 12? Some of you are probably thinking, Mr. C, 6 times 2 is 12, and you would be correct. Those of you that may be stuck, remember, you have a cheat sheet over here. Count the number of multiples you listed out. 1, 2, 6 times 2 gives us 12. If you multiply the denominator by 2, what do you do to the numerator? The same thing. Oh, did you say the same thing? You were exactly right, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So 4 times 2 gives us 8. All right, there's one equivalent fraction. Now let's create an equivalent fraction for, oh my gosh, do you see this mistake right here? Take a look. Mr. C made a mistake. What'd I do? I wrote a 4 here. I wrote a 4 here. What number should be written here? What number? 12, right? Boom, there's a mistake. I make them too. I'm not giving up though. Mistakes happen. I found it. That's the important part. Okay, let's roll. So create an equivalent fraction. 4 times what gives us 12? Count our multiples. 1, 2, 3. 4 times 3 is 12. If I multiply the denominator by 3, then I'm going to multiply the numerator times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Now that I've created equivalent fractions, I'm going to write these fractions down here so it's easier for me to see. That way I don't have all of this extra stuff around here. Make it easy on yourself. So we've got 8/12 plus 3/12. The denominators are the same, so we've got common denominators. So let's add. 8 plus 3 is 11, and our answer is 11/12. Let's prove a couple things to you. 4/6 is equal to 8/12. How? By multiplying by 2. By multiplying by 2. 1/4 is equal to 3/12. How? By multiplying by 3. By multiplying by 3. We multiply the numerators and denominators by the same numbers. We get equivalent fractions. Why did we need equivalent fractions? Well, we needed equivalent fractions because we couldn't add these fractions because they had different denominators. So we listed out the multiples of the denominators, found the smallest number they had in common, which was 12, created equivalent fractions, added that together, and got ourselves a final answer of 11/12. There's your answer. Where did you make a mistake? Where you lost? What doesn't make sense? Parents, teachers, have them show you where they got stuck. Have them tell you it. Students, stick with it. A lot of times, this isn't really something that students find hard. A lot of times I hear students say they get lost. They forget the next step, and that is understandable. That's the reason I kind of set mine up the way I set it up. I list out my multiples in the same spot every time I do it. I list out the equivalent fractions the same spot. I go straight down because that's a strategy I use to help me be able to see it. I tell students all the time, let's create strategies to help you see the math you're doing. Right? Let's make sure you can see it and you can track what you're doing, okay? So, if you're still confused, something doesn't make sense, my contact information is at the end of this video. Feel free to reach out. Parents, teachers, I highly recommend they get on iExcel for 20-25 minutes and practice this skill. The more we practice, the better we're going to get, okay? Students, stick with it. All right, persevere. If you're still stuck, check out my models video so you can make sure you can understand what this actually looks like, and then try this one again, okay? If you learned anything new at all, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. Join us as we continue making math understandable and challenging. Thanks for watching this video. That's all I have for you. Mr. C, out.